Hello and welcome to Mee Gindys.
It's the programme on Manx Radio where we take a look at the weird and wonderful and sometimes just downright interesting things around the Isle of Man.
Not much to add to that, other than the fact we could be looking at pubs, we could be looking at coins in lemon juice, and we could be wondering, why'd you break a leg?
So you mentioned coins. Now, if you heard last week's programme, you know that we do a weekly challenge. And last week we did something a little bit different. We did it as we recorded the show, and it involved putting 2 coins in some lemon juice to see what happens to them. And I'm a little bit hesitant because I've got the cup here with the 2 coins in.
Don't drop, that's my best cup.
Right. And I suppose I should try and get the coins out, but I'm not really that keen on sticking my fingers in there. That looks disgusting.
Get the trusty penknife.
There's a bit of a separation. Something has happened. There's a bit of a separation, isn't there?
Yeah. Try
What am I going to do with that?
Well, take the blade out and see if you can get the
Okay,
coins
you're going to have to
out.
open the thing for me. I get scared with penknives.
I'm the one who chews my nails. So the theory behind this was, it was just something I'd spotted.
Right.
I'm always looking online just to see some of these challenges.
Oh, they're stuck.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of challenges online and little scientific experiments. This was one I saw, but it was American. And so what they were doing, they were saying, did you know that lemon juice will actually dissolve a dime or a nickel? One of the little the sort of penny coins in the States, pre a certain period. Now, I think I've got one at home, but in the meantime, I thought, well, does it work with a penny? And it's to do with whether it's got a sort of solid core or not, or whether it's actually sort of galvanised. And sure enough, the little one they were showing on video, yeah, if you leave it there for long enough, it actually, first it cleans it, and then it actually eats away the edge of the coin. You can see the inside. But I don't know whether it works with the pennies. So what's happened with the pennies? Are they cleaned? Have they got?
Well, on first inspection, they look a lot cleaner. So they've taken that, they are obviously, sort of 30, 40 years old, these pennies here. So they've taken off the layer of grime on them.
Hang on, I'll just video you while you're doing that.
Oh, right, okay. Here we are. But actually one of them, if you can see the Queen's face here, it looks like a strange sort of bat shape has appeared on it, as it does seem to have taken off the top layer there, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. The other one just looks
so
a little bit cleaner. So yeah, I think if you left it in there for a little bit longer, maybe, we might actually see some disintegration.
You know what? You might be right.
Right, I'm going to pop them back in. That is disgusting, though, in the bottom of there.
Enjoy that. Don't get your cups mixed up and drink that one instead of your coffee this morning. Well done.
Right.
Yay.
Do you know what we need now?
Go on.
Probably a little trip to the pub.
Now, that's not too bad an idea, realistically.
Well, here we are. You are listening to Mee Gindys, and where better to be on a rainy Sunday morning than in a pub, H? Well, we started this a couple of weeks ago. We're looking at the Woodburn Hotel. We had a look around there because it was their 125th anniversary, and it got us thinking about other pubs in the Isle of Man, because there must be so much history in these places. So we've come to one, which again I'd never been to before. You've been here?
I have. Not for quite some time, it must be said. An iconic pub, one of those iconic TT pubs right on the course. Fantastic spot to watch, of course. I have watched the TT from here, and I think the last time I was here, I was probably out hiking. I came here for lunch.
We are at the Ginger Hall in Sulby, and we are joined by Ben Sowry, landlord. Is that what you call yourself?
Yeah, landlord, proprietor, I suppose, as well.
Keeping everyone in check.
Yeah.
So how long have you been here, Ben?
Coming up back 2.5 years now. So yeah, 2.5 years, and it's doing well. It's rocking at the minute. It's good.
Well, we'll talk more about the pub in general and how it works in the modern day in a moment. We're joined, and this is Dudley, the pub mascot. You say?
Yeah, little chihuahua.
You got anything to say, Dudley? No.
Quick sniff, that's it.
Let's start at the very beginning then. Why is it called the Ginger Hall?
Okay, it's called the Ginger Hall because it had an associate. Well, it brewed ginger beer here for a time. Now, it was originally called the Scottish Tavern. So it was called the Scottish Tavern from the point, I think, that it was built in the late 1700s, and it was called that up until a fire completely sort of gutted the place. and it got rebuilt, and new management and whatnot, and they decided to call it the Ginger Hall, based on its association with ginger beer.
That fire you mentioned, was there an indication that perhaps it was started by somebody who might have thought about starting a fire?
Well, I think when all the furniture gets laid out in the garden, that's normally an indicator. And there was a lot of. I think it was quite obvious. I think the chap actually got done for it. I don't think there were any injuries, and it was just like the phoenix from the flames. The Ginger Hall came out of it. 1888. That was. Yeah. So it's been.
So it's been a pub here for quite some time, then, realistically.
It has, yeah. Tons. Yeah, it's been here for ages.
Hard to pin a date, though, on the original time that it was opened, though, you're saying?
Well, from my research, I mean, there'll be people listening to this probably who know exactly when it was, but I can't seem to find definitive date. Just late 1700s, 1790, around then.
Isn't there something amazing about the fact that this has been a place where people have always come to get together, to have a drink? I don't know, it's just great, isn't it?
Well, that sort of history, that feeling, like
You're part of
theatres and
something.
such like, you've been there for a long time, and it's a link. I mean, it's obviously been there all my lifetime as well, and it's got that link now, and I suppose going back to way back when with the TT.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, it's one of my favourite stories about a kind of an era of this pub was when the, I think it was the RAF guys who were based in Derby, they used to frequent here most nights, and somebody told me once, on a very, very quiet Tuesday in the middle of winter, they said, back in the day, like I think around 50s, 60s this was, on a Tuesday night there would be like 100 people in here, and there'd be a conga every night that would go around the pub. So that's probably my favourite time for the pub, like hearing back, because it just sounds like it was absolutely rocking.
Now, you did say when we were having a chat just before that there's been quite a lot of death here. Any particular stories?
Well, there's been a few, it's quite grisly. My wife and I researched it quite a lot. Just before we reopened, we made like a little display cabinet over there of old newspaper articles. Quite a few suicides of the management, which doesn't bode well. But, there was also, the real grisly one was a girl here, I think it was in the 30s. She was just working as a barmaid here, and she was walking home, I think, over the Sulby Bridge, and she died. She kind of keeled over, and it transpired she was poisoned whilst working in the pub.
Flipping heck.
Yeah.
This isn't good. You're not going to add to these statistics, are you? No.
No, I know.
I have to ask then, given that sort of grisly history, any resident ghosts or spirits?
Yeah, a lot of people have said they've had some strange experiences. I'm very on the fence with it all, but I had a very odd experience. About a year ago, I was cashing up late on a Saturday. I was the only person in the pub, all locked up. And if you're familiar with the Ginger, just down the steps from the bar in the hallway, I just heard this massive crash, like you'd picked up a very heavy... I said it was like someone smashed a TV down on the floor, and the noise was just reverberating around the pub, and I thought one of the gambling machines had fallen over, and there was just nothing, absolutely nothing there at all.
Wow. And
I look back on the CCTV, and you can see, it doesn't have volume on it, but you can see me like rushing down there like, what on earth's happened, but nothing at all.
No, that is, that's Milntown quality, that is,
That
isn't it?
really is. Well, we aren't that far away from Milntown, I suppose, just down the road, really. Yeah. But, oh my goodness. So this, where we're sitting now, is this the main bar?
Yeah, this has always been the main bar. I believe this, where we're at the far end, again, if people are familiar with the pub by the dartboard, this was like the smoking room, and I think where you see that beam there, I think it was like a separate room, like it was partitioned off. And but it's been, as far as I can tell, it's been open like this for a long time now.
It is classic, and again, I'm looking around because there's some fantastic, if you go into the main lounge here, there's some great pictures. There's Joey Dunlop over there, there's pictures of the actual course. Any particular links with any of the TT guys or famous guys come around?
Well, I mean, I think generally it holds quite a place in most of the TT guys' hearts. Like, they like to pop in if they're over, Over the years, it's sponsored various people. I think they used to have a good affiliation with Dave Molyneux when he was starting out. But yeah, I mean, they all know it. They all pop in. Sort of, it's almost like paying their respects. I think they come because it's such a landmark section of the course, and so yeah, it's beloved with the TT riders and fans alike. Yeah.
And what about the clientele generally then? Is it sort of people from around Sulby? Do they come from far and near, or the regulars? Any great characters? Have you sort of get a good mix?
Yeah, it's a good mix. I mean, midweek, it's very much a local crowd, and we got a group of young guys, like young farmer lads who are brilliant. They come from sort of all around the north. They're in most nights, and yeah, full of characters. I don't want to single any of them out because they'll listen and think that I'm taking the mick. But no, there's some brilliant heads that come in. And on the weekend, it's complete mixed bag. Get people from all over the island because of the restaurant and because of the live music and stuff. So, yeah, really good. I mean, it's not been like that the whole time. It's taken a while to build to that. But, yeah.
And you've obviously brought the music in, a good musician yourself and playing a lot. So do you play as well? Or do you have, you're saying we're here on a Sunday today and some Celtic music on today?
Yeah, Celtic music. I mean, that's out of my... I'm not too good on the old baran, but no, I've played a few times in here. It's always good fun. But I don't really relax when I'm playing. I'm just looking out thinking, that person looks a bit too drunk to be in at the minute. So I tend not to. Like, I think it's probably more responsible if I'm,
You've always got your landlord's hat on.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Ben Sowry at the Ginger Hall in Sulby. We'll be heading back there a little bit later in the programme.
We will, and we're pootling around a bit more.
But, we do wonder about a lot of things on this show, don't we?
That's what it's about.
And one of the things that I got thinking about the other week when you were in Wind in the Willows wearing a very fetching pair of breeches and riding boots.
I thought so.
Was the ears on the hat maybe too much, but anyway, was about expressions again. And I know we've done this in previous series. We talked about things like left on the shelf, and we worked out why that expression came about. But I was like, why do you in a theatre say break a leg before a show? And I realised I said it many, many, many times, and I didn't know.
Yeah, you never say good luck, good luck.
Yeah, I know. And if you say that to anyone, they are like, oh my goodness, but why?
Break a leg. Yeah.
Why? Did you know why?
You know what? I wasn't 100% certain, but I thought if there's one place to find out, it's asking a couple of people backstage. Okay, so backstage of the theatre at the Gaiety, where better place than to ask people what is the origin of the phrase when you're going on stage, break a leg. Darren.
I understand it to be that the leg was the curtains at the side of the stage, and you only got paid if you went through them, hence breaking a leg.
Ah, that sounds feasible. Any advance on that?
Well, I personally think it's because there's some really violent people in the theatre, and I think that they all want you to break your leg so that they can get on the stage instead of you.
I prefer his one.
Now then, here's a person who should know. Seamus Shea, you feel you do know the answer to this great thing. You're going on stage, you never say, good luck, you always say, break a leg.
So my understanding, Howard, is that the side of the stage is dressed with hard flats, which are affectionately known as legs. So the first time you enter the stage, you break past the leg. So that is your first entrance of that particular show. Break the leg is go forth, go onto the stage and do your thing.
That sounds completely believable, and you would know.
Now we know.
There we go. Seamus Shea with the answer, I think. It has to be said Darren was pretty much on with it as well.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whether the other suggestion from a certain ex-constabulary member of our... I don't know. I think that he spent too long in the force.
Maybe that was it.
It's my belief. But thanks very much to... Yes. Backstage, it's, people are backstage. This was like just as the performance was starting or something. So
it's what they needed, wasn't it? A question like that.
A question like that. It's just a thing to set you up before you go on stage in about 30 seconds. Yeah, very good.
But if
so
you've
well
got
done,
another expression that you think we should be looking into, then do get in touch and let us know. This is Mee Gindys on Manx Radio. Challenge time now. And for once, we're in a slightly different location. So here we are. We're not in the kitchen for the Tammy Gindys challenge this week. We're in one of the Manx Radio studios. And I'm just going to try and describe what we've got in front of us. Howard's brought one of his little Tupperware pots in that's full of some sort of liquid. It looks like milk, but...
It does look like milk, doesn't it?
What is it?
It's actually corn flour and water.
Okay, and you're sticking a pen in it.
Yeah. Corn flour and water. So corn flour used for thickening your sauces and whatever in the kitchen and such like, and straight water. So you can see, but the curious thing is when you put it together like this, you can see it is a liquid. Yeah? You would agree. So you can sort of stick your pen in like that.
Is it that curious, considering that you've put water in it?
Oh, I know, but the thing is then, if you take it out again, so if you do it slowly like that, it's fine. If you do it hard...
Oh, wow.
So you would think...
Can I have a go?
Well, tell you what, try punching the surface of this. So I'll hold this, and you try.
What, with my hand?
Boom, yeah, with your hand.
Are you joking?
And see what happens.
Oh, this is going to go wrong, isn't it?
Hey? No, it's not going to go wrong. You've got no faith, have you? So just punch the surface with your hand. So get at your fist and then sort of punch down at the surface.
This is going to go everywhere.
Well, try it and
see.
see.
Oh my gosh, there's microphones here. Is this a safe place to do it in?
Okay, if you don't trust me, you can take it and put it somewhere else if you want.
Oh, I don't want to do it. That's really weird. Oh my gosh, that's really weird.
Don't hurt yourself. Weird, eh?
That is weird.
Yeah. That's a strange one. So, like I said, if you just sort of try just gently sticking your finger in, it will actually, if you just go very slowly, your finger will just sort of go into the surface.
Oh no, this is like one of those things, you put your hand in those tunnels and
Yeah.
you're going to feeling around. Ooh.
Tunnels you put your hand into, but yeah, there you go, you see. It's all right, I've got a cloth. So now we're back to sort of liquid again.
That's really weird. So go on then, what's the scientific explanation?
Well, I thought for a change this week, you can find out and tell me.
Okay.
So we'll, I mean, if people have got any ideas, they can let me know. But in the meantime, you can do a little bit of research, and next week, all will be revealed. How about that?
Perfect.
Right, and we will put that one up. See, Sarah Hendy, when I showed her, she said, oh, yes, corn flour and water. I remember this at school a bit. I can't remember exactly why. And remember, you've got to try and find out.
Yeah,
to
got
do
some
a bit
homework.
of Googling or something.
That's possibly one of the weirdest things. Can you imagine if you just tuned in the middle of that and just heard me punching? I mean, what was in effect a Tupperware full of stuff.
Correct.
Bizarre.
Correct.
What are we doing with our lives?
Well, it's just one of those weird things. I mean, I've always found that one fascinating. And you always think something like that, you think there's got to be a good use to it.
Right.
Don't know, I mean, just not punching it in a Tupperware tub, but I thought, could you put it into a vest and it would have been like bulletproof, so it would be flexible when you were just moving, but if something struck you like a bullet, it would go boomf and it wouldn't go through.
Maybe that's how you're going to make your fortune.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
OK. Let's head back to the pub now. It sounds like we possibly need to. Back to see Ben Sowry at the Ginger Hall in Sulby. And at this point, we asked him what this year had been like with obviously having to go through lockdown.
Yeah, it was very tough, but I still, I mean, all the horribleness of it aside, me personally, I wouldn't swap it because it's done far more good for me than not. The time out was really handy to reassess things, and the pub and the business has performed so much better since we reopened because of it. I did the pub up as well. It was probably a bit frayed around the edges, a bit tired looking before, so we gave it a real facelift. So yeah, I mean, my experience isn't everybody's experience. I know it's been absolutely awful for some people, but just personally, it's been good for me.
And it must have been pretty amazing that day when you could first reopen and everyone's back in here.
Yeah, it was. It was great. It was a lovely feeling, and it was extra special because, like I say, the pub. It was when you tamper with something that's beloved to certain people. Like I say, we really did give it a good facelift. I was a bit worried about what the reaction would be, but it was generally all positive, and yeah, it was lovely. And we had the beer garden open before we opened the pub, and that was great. It was just very encouraging to see people come out and support it.
OK, can we have a look round at the rest of the pub, if that's OK?
Yeah.
Marvellous. Okie dokie. All right. I'll just see if I'm going to disturb Dudley now, you see. He's back. Here, Duds. Mind your paws. That's it. There we go. Right.
So I was saying before about how this place used to be a real focal point for the military guys who lived in the barracks in Derby and whatnot. I believe they built that back bar. It's like quite an ornate, fancy, grand back bar that we've got. It's a lovely. I think it's my favourite thing about the pub. And the little crest, the shields up there are from, I believe, different submarine divisions. Or
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a good bit of history. I could never, ever have tampered with that. I would have been shot. And the Castletown Ales mirror there, that is highly collectible and sought after. Yeah.
And I think that's what makes pubs like the Ginger, isn't it? It is that sense of history that you come in and people maybe who haven't been here for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years will come in and that's still there. It's still something that will mean something to them.
Absolutely, yeah, totally. No, that could never change. And the bar here, big long bar, I believe used to belong in an Isle of Man bank.
Is that what that bell is?
Yeah. That
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
there's a little-
line. There's a little bell there for getting.
I thought that was for service, yeah.
No. So yeah, that's been here for a good chunk of time as well.
And is it difficult then with, you were saying, you've done quite a lot, you've modernised it, you've sort of brought it up, you've, like I said, tied it up a bit. Is always that balance between sort of having that link with the history you were saying and having to sort of move with the times as well?
Yeah, definitely. Now, before, it was kind of, it had a very, very heavy TT presence in the pub. You know, there were dozens of pictures up and whatnot. And of course, we've got the big ceiling here, which if people haven't seen it, it's a huge map of the course.
It is right above your head. You have to look straight up, I must admit, or you're not going to see it.
But I wanted to bring a bit of balance to the theme of the pub. Really. I wanted to make it a bit TT, a bit Sulby, a bit of the pub's history, and I think we struck that balance well and managed to keep the real TT heads happy, which I was a bit concerned about.
I bet.
As long as Joey is still above the fire.
Joey is still there, so he's still lurking and, looking very imperious. And we've got a new bar staff member here.
Well, I'm just making myself at home behind the bar. It's a long time since I worked in a pub. I think it was the Hop Garden in about 2001. But it's great. So I'll just make myself.
You're looking at home,
here. Yeah.
Any chance for a job?
Absolutely, yeah. You can start in a few hours if you like.
Right then, Beth, clear out. No snaffling the whiskey there. Yeah, or the gin.
That was very rude. I
Well,
would be
you
a very good barmaid, I'll have you know.
Yeah, you were looking keen, I must be said.
I
I could see.
was
you did
keen.
look at
And I
home.
could see over the bar as well, so that was a bonus.
Well, you were standing on a box.
Do you know what we'll do? In a couple of weeks, I think, we will reveal a story about another type of spirit that's at the Ginger Hall.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do you see what I've done there?
Well, I see what you did there.
Hey.
Yes, definitely a few. Yes, he had a few stories to tell.
Yes, he really did. But we have reached the time now where we take a look through the Manx Radio archive. And do you know what? There's something that we just can't resist, and it is any chance to play some of this man.
Okay, the interview with Bill Harrison. We're at 5 Highview Road, and it's, I think, the 10th, probably. Is it the 10th? 11th? Yes, it is. It's the 10th of August 2005. And Bill is going to talk about... it's W.P. Harrison, isn't it?
No, that was the name of the business,
Oh.
my father's name.
Do you have any other name? Is it
No.
William Harrison, is it?
Just William.
Just William, right. There's a character for you.
Just William.
Just William.
Yes.
Anyway, we're going to talk about the thing that I understand was called Operation Overlord, D-Day in Normandy in June of 1944. As a Royal Engineer then, you'd already been trained. I mean, you knew a Bailey Bridge from bottom to top and top to bottom, I suppose.
Yes, we'd been trained for over 2 years on assault crossings, Bailey, pontoon bridging, demolitions and various other engineering work. Most of it was done in Northern Ireland, preparing for the invasion of France.
Do you know what? I could listen to David Collister interviewing all day, but that's all we have time for this week. We'll be back next time.
Bye.